everything was in Andre Rieu's hands. A fortune that may rival that of rock stars, opulent mansions befitting kings and queens, and sold-out arenas around the globe. However, an unanticipated tale lay beneath the glitzy costumes, dazzling lighting, and enthusiastic applause. Andre accomplished something that not even the most successful pop artists of today can match. He established an empire worth $40 million with classical music alone. On the other hand, what gives? Is it possible that his closest relatives would cry over this enormous riches someday? Andre hadn't inherited a fortune. Even as a young boy, he had a deep appreciation for music. He grew up in a musical family. His father was the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra's conductor. But Andre had always known that he hated stuffy concert halls and didn't want to sit quietly there. He yearned for something more substantial, boisterous, and thrilling. He wished for the audience to applaud, sing, and leap out of their chairs. Andre meticulously constructed that very thing. Andre took a tremendous chance in 1987 that could have made him famous or doomed him to obscurity. The Johann Strauss Orchestra, which he established, was no slouch. It was a glittering entertainment behemoth. The original 12 musicians soon ballooned into 60-plus performers hailing from every corner of the world. It wasn't only classical waltzes that Andre played. He performed a wide variety of music, including Strauss classics and the Macarena, at his concerts. Indeed, it produced the desired result. Applauded by fans. Quickly, tickets were sold out, and before long, he wasn't merely a theater filler. All throughout the globe, he was selling out arenas and stadiums. Unpredictably, funds began to flood in. Andre wasn't only successful by the early 2000s. He was selling more records than major acts such as Coldplay, Bruce Springsteen, and AC/DC. His DVDs became a worldwide phenomenon, and his events could make millions of dollars in a single night. Like at rock concerts, fans shouted as they crisscrossed the country, spent a small fortune, and went great distances. As a result of his rapidly expanding enterprise, Andre became the wealthiest violinist in the world. But Andre didn't secretly hoard his fortune in a bank account. Rather doing that, he invested heavily in making even grander shows. He designed a breathtaking $30 million stage for his 2008 show at Vienna's Esch-en-Brunn Palace, risking nearly all of his possessions in the process. Spectacular embellishments of gold, crystal, and other precious metals gave it the dreamlike appearance that Andre Rieu's admirers had hoped for. However, he nearly lost it all because of that fairy story. He was on the verge of bankruptcy due to the enormous expense, which instantly erased decades of earnings. Andre had dared to take chances previously, but this one was his Achilles heel. Yet Andre remained steadfast in his refusal to give up. With each performance, he gradually rose back up the ladder, eventually paying off his debts and even surpassing his previous triumphs. He bounced back faster and wiser than before, and within a few years, he was wealthier than before. He made millions more when he turned his concerts into international film events, streaming them live in theaters all over the world. Those who couldn't afford to fly to see him perform live raced to theaters, where they paid top dollar to feel the thrill of the crowd. By 2023, Andre's wealth had not only recovered, but it had quadrupled, reaching an astounding $40 million. It wasn't Andre alone who amassed his money, though. His loved ones were there from the beginning, particularly his multi-talented wife Marjorie. Marjorie was involved in the selection of locations, costume design, and the planning of the spectacular stage designs that gained international renown. They built an entertainment empire that felt more like a family enterprise, and their combined efforts made every show spectacular. Their son Pierre took the helm as VP of Andre Rieu Productions, further solidifying the family's position as a musical dynasty. Even when his concerts grew famous, Andre never lost sight of where he started from. He resided in a fortress constructed in 1452 in Maastricht. A real castle indeed. This mansion was everything but ordinary. Legend has it that the Three Musketeers d'Artagnan had his last supper there before dying in combat. It had been Andre's lifelong ambition to own it, and he finally accomplished it. Complete with dazzling chandeliers, gardens straight out of a fairy tale, and priceless artwork, he spent millions transforming the entire palace into a fantasy mansion. It seemed like a scene from a movie, but Andre was actually experiencing it on a daily basis. Andre kept moving forward at a rapid pace, despite his immense fortune. Non-stop touring took him from the United States and Europe to Australia and Japan, and he continued to extend his concerts. His audience, wealth, and tour size all increased year after year. Now that he had achieved superstardom, he was more than simply a musician. Something that happened all around the world, and the brand became an unstoppable moneymaker. Surprisingly, remained committed to baking despite all the splendor. In 2020, when the lockdown was in full swing and concerts were suddenly cancelled and millions of dollars in ticket sales vanished, Andre pulled an unexpected stunt. He got into the habit of making cakes and giving them to his neighbors. It was just plain old human kindness, nothing fancy. A subtle reminder that a man who still treasured community and basic pleasures was beneath the enormous empire. However, Andre's riches was not limited to that. His empire's survival hinged on his ability to perform continuously. Everything was on the brink of collapse, once again, in 2010, when he became ill with a bad ear infection. The doctors couldn't believe he hadn't fallen ill sooner, considering how packed his calendar was. His loved ones finally saw the precariousness of their good fortune. The integrity of their construction was totally dependent on Andre's well-being. They may lose millions of dollars in an instant due to a single illness or tour cancellation. Despite the immense pressure, Andre bounced back and continued to push forward, unyielding in his determination to maintain the steady flow of music and money. Still, tension increased. Behind the scenes, the family battled to manage a business worth tens of millions of dollars, confronting risks that nobody knew about, while fans witnessed an effortlessly smiling Andre performing. It was a bet that cost millions of dollars for each outstanding show's set designs, locations, musicians, and marketing. Everything is at risk in the event of a failure. Andre constructed. Another clandestine secret followed. It wasn't only at performances that Andre's money shone. He had been secretly amassing a massive real estate portfolio, putting millions of dollars into high-end houses all around Europe. His massive real estate business was little known to fans, who were aware of his Maastricht castle. That castle in Maastricht wasn't just any old home. It came with a heavy baggage of history. It was originally part of Charles de Bott's Castelmore d'Artagnan when it was constructed in 1452, whose life served as a basis for the Three Musketeers' iconic musketeer. However, Andre initially thought this property was far from opulent. When he was 6 years old, he came in for piano lessons for the first time. Love didn't strike at first sight, I promise. The building was dilapidated, gloomy, and eerily atmospheric. Certainly not the kind of place you'd picture yourself thriving. After many years had passed, that haunted mansion became the crown jewel of Andre's vast enterprise. Within his Maastricht castle, he turned a desolate wreck into a fantastical home, straight out of a fairy tale, stocking it with the type of opulence that the rest of us can only dream of seeing on Netflix. Retained the Stradivarius violin he has. It wasn't just any old instrument. Andre paid an astounding £7 million for the instrument in 2018, although Antonio Stradivari made it in 1692. Not only that, but it was his third Stradivarius. He had a difficult time playing the first one he owned, which was from 1667, and was one of Stradivari's early works. But Andre made magic with its difficult sound, using it to record some of his best records. Having a collection of violins worth millions of dollars? Music was more than Andre loved. He was totally out of his league. Instruments were just the beginning of Andre's lavish lifestyle. Each aspect of his shows was meticulously orchestrated by him, including the uniforms his band members sported. His female musicians wore those stunning outfits. Andre personally created each one. These outrageously priced gowns, which drew inspiration from historical personalities such as Empress Elizabeth of Austria, cost somewhere over £3,000 each. This is multiplied by a number of dozens of artists on each trip. I finally get it now. Andre's stage designs were the reason he went bankrupt once. Oh sure, insolvency. Do you recall the 2008 Vienna concerts when he built that amazing stage set? It was an exact replica of Eschnebrunn Palace, down to the last detail, with authentic ice rinks, fountains, golden carriages, and opulent ballrooms replete with dancers. Impressive, isn't it? However, greatness is not free. The construction cost Andre an astounding £34 million. He didn't settle for just one set. He created not one, but three, and took them on tour across the globe, going through money at a staggering rate. Wow, it was showy. It almost killed him, but it was wonderful nonetheless. Before they could settle the massive bills, Andre sat down with his bank manager to negotiate what they could take. Still, he managed to weather the storm and emerge from it stronger than before. Was he at home, or was this man unstoppable? As far as life within a real-life castle is concerned, everything appeared calm, cozy, and even ordinary.